All right, second graders, it's the last day for math. Yay. I know you're doing a little celebration dance in your room. You're done with math for the school year. Now, remember, if you would love to please us, which I know you love to do, you could finish the math book or at least do the green pages. There's not that much left. It won't take you very long, and you have all summer to do it. So if you would just do the green pages, we would really appreciate that. But this is the last one that you're going to see us, the last one you're going to see us recorded. So today we're on session 3. You only have your blue pages because on Monday, there's not a quiz. So you are on page 715 and 716, and we're just going to go through this, and then we will be done.
Okay, so let's look at the first slide. It says, which circle is divided into thirds? Explain. Okay, so the first thing I'm remembering is what Mrs. Walker told us yesterday. When you divide a circle into thirds, she said it looks like a peace sign. So I definitely see one circle here, this circle A, that looks like a peace sign to me. And I also noticed that all the shapes could fit inside of each other because they are the same size. When I look at circle B, the shapes are not the same when you cut the circle into thirds this way. This piece in the middle looks almost like a rectangle, but over here, it does not, right? This piece in the middle is larger than the two pieces on the side. So I know that this circle has not been divided into equal parts. So can I say that this circle has been divided into thirds if they are not equal? So which circle then would we say has been divided into thirds?
So we have to say that circle A is divided into thirds because they're equal.
Circle
Equal parts, probably.
is divided into thirds because they are equal. All right.
Good. All right, draw. Divide the squares in half 2 different ways. Make the halves of one square different shapes than the halves of the other square. Try doing the same with the circles. What do you notice? So we can do any way we want to divide those into halves. And remember, half is 2, right? So we want to make sure we have 2 pieces.
Okay.
I think the first one we divide straight down the middle like we always do. Good. And then the next one, let's do diagonal. Can we do diagonal with those? Yeah. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but you know you would just go from one corner to the next, right? Ooh, nice. And then let's do our circles. So let's do the first one right in half, like that. And then let's do the next one diagonal too. Perfect. So what do we notice about these two? The parts are still what?
The parts are still equal, even though the lines are going in different directions. So even though you split them into different shapes, you split them into half differently, they're still split into half because they're equal.
Yep, exactly. They're still the same shape, right? The squares, they're different shapes because we see that 2 of them are rectangles and then 2 of them are triangles. But then in the circle, no matter which way we cut it, there's still going to be a half circle or a semicircle, right? Half of it. Yep.
All right, Carlo and Abe buy the same sandwich. Carlo's sandwich is cut in thirds. Abe's sandwich is cut in fourths. Which sandwich has smaller pieces? Explain. Okay, here's the 2 sandwiches, right? If we had our lines and we cut Carlo's into thirds. Here's Carlo's. I'm going to cut it into thirds this way. 1, 2, 3. And if I have Abe's and I cut his into fourths, I'm going to cut it 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's going to have bigger pieces?
Or who's going to have smaller pieces?
Oh, sorry. Who's going to have smaller
Yep.
pieces?
So Abe's going to have smaller pieces because there's 4, right? So Abe's is going to be smaller because he has 4 pieces instead of 3.
Okay. So we're not writing it out because Mrs. Walker just used words to describe it, but we would say because, just like she did. Okay. All right. Keep having to move our screen because we're on all sorts of the way. Shara and her mom make these 3 pizzas for a party. Shara will have 10 people at the party. Draw how Shara could cut each pizza into halves, thirds, or fourths to get exactly 10 pieces of a pizza in all.
Ooh.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the circle and the square are a little smaller. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these pieces into half just because they're smaller first, okay? So I'm going to say half.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awful. I can't even handle it. So hard.
The perfectionist.
Okay, there's half again. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, right? How many more pieces would I need to get to 10?
Well, you would need 6 pieces, but because we can't cut it into 6, we actually have to cut that square into 4s.
I think you're right. So I'm going to cut this into 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I cut this into 4, I should have 6 or 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I count wrong?
No, yep, because 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 2 is 10.
I counted wrong. 1, 2, 3.
It's all right. So we did 4s. We did 2 fourths and then a half. So that works, right?
Now she asks more people to the party. There will be 12 people. How could she cut the pizza to get exactly 12 pieces? So we know here when she cut them, she has 10. How could we get 2 more pieces? What would be the easiest thing to do?
Cut it into 4ths, don't you think?
There. So now we have 4 and 4 and 4. And I know that 4 plus 4 is 8, and another 4 would be 12.
Wow. Yes.
So that's a little harder. You're going to have to experiment and think. But you can start by cutting pieces into halves and then always know that you can add another line, right?
Yes.
To make 4. If you go too big, sometimes you might have to go back and say, ooh, a half didn't work. I have to cut it into thirds, okay? But you can experiment. That's why you try with pencils, so you can erase and do different things like that.
Right. And you could try, just because we did ours that way doesn't mean ours is always the right way. So you can try different ways to do it.
Definitely. All right. That is it.
Oh. We can't even say anything. So goodbye.
Bye.